Hello. In this video, we are going to add some coins to our BeanRun game. So right now we have the player and the enemy, and we're trying to avoid getting hit by the enemy, but let's give something for the player to collect as a reward. So we are going to add in some new actors here. So we've used the add function before, so we'll just do it a few more times. All right, so we're going to say add, use the add function, give it a list of components. So we're going to add a thing with the tag of coin, and it is going to be, we'll just make it a rect for now. So it'll also be 50, 50. We are going to want to specify the position. So let's make it where it's just kind of like right above the origin of where the player shows up. So I'm going to say something like 50, 75 maybe. So with that X component being just a little bit into the screen and the Y component being a little bit down. Remember, Y is how far down you are. Yep, so then we're also going to add an area because I do want to calculate whether there's collision, but I don't really want it to have gravity. I don't want it to be solid or anything like that. So I do want to change the color. So I'm going to add a color component. So I'll pass in the RGB values. I want it to be yellow. And strange as it is, if I want to get the color yellow with only red, green, and blue mixed together, if I mix red and green together but have no blue in it, I end up with the color yellow. That's what happens when you mix lights together, which is what's happening in a computer screen. So that should at least add the coin to the screen. All right, so I got my, it doesn't super look like a coin there. Maybe I'll make these numbers a little bit higher to give it a brighter yellow. Let's see here, more like 200. Yeah, all right, so we got a thing there that we can interact with. Wondering if my jump power is even big enough to get to it if I hold it down, yeah. Okay, so I have a coin. And let's just go ahead and add another one. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that code to just add another object into the game. It's still going to have the tag of coin, still going to be a rectangle. Maybe we could play with that, but definitely change the position here. So when it changed the position to be more like 400 and then maybe 100, see what that looks like. All right, but it still has an area because I want to eventually be able to do collision, and then give it that same color value. So that will just add in the second thing. They both have a tag of coin. I didn't really need to save them as a variable. I can just look them up by their tags. All right, so I got my two coins there. So we want to see if we've collided with the coin. So use the collides function. I'm going to take player collides. All right, so when player collides with anything of the tag coin, right, notice the quotes because I'm using a name of some kind, comma to separate to the next part of what's happening here, and then I pass in an arrow function. All right. Now, when the player collides with the coin, I'm going to want to earn points or something. We got to make that happen. But I also want the coin to kind of disappear. That'll give it a good visual effect. So I need to be able to say destroy coin, but I don't actually have that variable, and I'm not going to destroy all of them, everything with that tag. So that's exactly what those parentheses are for, is to catch the one coin. So I'm just going to write C here, standing for the one coin, and then I can say destroy that coin. All right, the collides function, what it does, it looks up everything that has that tag, but then as it looks at each individual one, I can just call it C at that moment. All right, so I can say destroy C. All right, so looks like I destroy it right away because that's where my player fell from. So let's adjust that a little bit. My player is falling from basically the same position. Maybe I want to fall from more like 300. Oh, that's the X component. Yeah. Now let's see. Used to have a 50 there. Instead of falling from 100 Y, let's fall from 300 Y. All right, so if I jump, then I can destroy that coin. And I'd like to pick up that other coin, but it's a little hard to get there. We're going to have to fix that. But the other piece is we want to actually have a score. So let's go ahead and make that. So I'm going to scroll to the very top, and I'm going to make an actual variable. We haven't been doing variables as much now, but at this point I am going to make a real variable. I'm going to say let score equals 0, at the very beginning of the game, then you have 0 points. But now I have a variable that I can increase at the right moment. So whenever I collide with a coin, well, I'm going to destroy the coin, but then I'm also going to take score and plus equals 10, let's say. All right, now I can run it and test it. The computer memory is going to change when I collide with that coin there. But I'm not really seeing the number 10 or anything like that. So we want to show our score up on the screen. So let's add a component that can handle that, displaying something there. All right, so let's take, just like where we're adding all of our objects here. So I'm going to add a component that is, it's going to have a text component to it. All right, so the text is going to say something like score. I'm going to do this right now. Score colon 0. Like that's what it should look like at the beginning. And give it a position of 0, 0. Just right up in the corner there. And I don't need an area or anything like that. So I think we can just see if I can at least see that label right there. Okay, there we go. And I could change the size of it and everything. Now what I want is for this to change. All right, I don't always want it to say score 0. All right, so that's kind of how it loads in at the very beginning. But what I want to do is be able to change it later on. So I actually do need to save this score label as a variable so I can interact with it later. So I'm going to say in front of this whole thing, in front of the adding function, I'm going to say let score label equal adding this label here. That way I can use score label somewhere else to update what it's saying right there. All right, now when might the score update? Well, it's when I've collided with a coin. So in this very moment, I'm going to say score label dot text. I'm going to set the text equal to the quotes because I'm writing out some text here. Now kind of that same idea, like score colon 0, but I obviously don't want it to be 0. Do I want it to be 10? Do I want it to be 20? Well, it increases by 10, but if I've collected enough coins, it could be 50. So how do I get it to do that? So I'm just going to delete that number because I don't always want to see that. But what I can do after this little string here, after those quotes, I can say add, and then just add on whatever the thing is that I want to see, which is score. All right, there we go. Yep, so I got the score to change. And so just by grabbing that score label, which I only have this because I made a variable where I said let score label equal that add function. But then that gives me something that I can modify it in the future. Right? I can set the text to be some letters plus whatever score happens to be in that moment. And because score increased, then this is going to look a little different. Now, if I could collect that other coin, this could say 20. The only problem is I can't actually get to that coin yet. So we are going to have to update the movement of the player.